Hi everyone, here's our math problem for today. One of our followers from the Philippines want us to discuss how to solve this math Olympiad problem. If x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0, and x is an element of the set of complex numbers, then find the value of x raised to 77 plus x raised to 76 plus x raised to 75 plus x raised to 74 plus x raised to 73. You can pause the video and see if you can solve this math Olympiad problem. Now let's solve this problem together. There are several approaches in solving this problem. Some people would approach this by starting with x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0, solve for x, and substitute the result to the second equation. But you will notice that if you are going to solve for x in x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0 using quadratic formula, we will arrive here at a complex number. We substitute 1 for a, 1 for b, and 1 for c, and following this quadratic formula, the result would be -1 plus or minus I square root of 3 all over 2. Notice that if I substitute this value to x in this second equation, we will arrive at a very complicated equation. So we are not going to use this approach, that's why I just put this in passing. A better approach would be if we are going to start with the second equation, the equation itself that we want to find the value of, but along the way, we are going to use the fact that x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. So let's do that. Notice here that for all of these 5 terms, there is a common factor, x raised to 73. So factoring out now this common factor and dividing each of these terms by x raised to 73, this is what we will arrive at. The first term divided by x raised to 73 is x to the 4th. The second term divided by this common factor is this result. The same explanation for each of those terms until we arrive at the last term. Now, look at this part here. You have x squared plus x plus 1 and compare that with this given equation, x squared plus x plus 1. The result of this is equal to 0. That means instead of these 3 terms, we can replace it with 0. So what we now have is x to the 4th plus x cubed plus 0 for the second factor, and we just copy the first factor. And of course, you add 0 to any number, the result's still the same number. Now, look at x to the 4th and x to the 3rd. There is a common factor again of x to the 3rd, which we factored out, and divide each of these terms by x to the 3rd, we arrive at x plus 1. This 0 is no longer written. Then, we can multiply x to the 73rd plus x to the 3rd to arrive at x to the 76th, and we copy x plus 1. Now, we would like to know what expression can we substitute for x plus 1 from the given equation here. So notice that x squared plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. We now have this expression x plus 1 similar to this x plus 1. All we have to do is subtract x squared from both sides of the equation, and so we have x plus 1 equals negative x squared. We can now replace this part by negative x squared to have x raised to 76 times negative x squared in place of x plus 1. And you have here a common base. Think of having a positive 1 here and a negative 1 here. So positive 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, and we copy the common base, and we add the exponents 76 plus 2 to get 78. This is now the value of this expression so far. Let's remove these other parts. This is not yet our answer because we want to find the exact value of this given expression. Now let's recall the identity for the difference of 2 cubes. Now here, if we let a be equal to x and b be equal to 1, then if we take the difference of these 2 cubes, that would be equal to the first minus the second, that is x minus 1, times the square of the first, which is x squared, plus the product of the first and the second, which is x, plus the square of 1, to arrive at this. And notice that this x squared plus x plus 1 is again this given expression. So let's write it clearly. We know that this one is equal to this, and the value of that is equal to 0. So again, we can replace this with 0, and what's left with us now is x cubed minus 1 equals the quantity x minus 1 times 0, and since any number times 0 is 0, the right side is again 0. And solving for x cubed, we add 1 to both sides of the equation to get x cubed is equal to 1. So at this point, we now know that x cubed is equal to 1. So let's remember that value. Now going back to this expression, negative x raised to 78, which is the value of the expression that we would like to find the value of. Notice that this 78 can be written as multiples of this exponent 3. That is equal to 3 times 26. And applying the power of power rule of exponent, then we can write this negative x raised to 78 as negative of x cubed raised to 26. But what is the value of x cubed? X cubed is equal to 1. So we can substitute 1 for x cubed to arrive at this, but 1 raised to 26 is still 1. So therefore, the value of this is simply negative 1. And that is now the value of the expression that we would like to find out. So going back now to our math challenge, if x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0 and x is an element of the set of complex numbers, then x to the 77th plus x to the 76th plus x to the 75th plus x to the 74th plus x to the 73rd is now equal to negative 1, and this problem is now solved. So thank you very much. This is Lando Assistant, and we hope to see you again in our next video. Bye for now.